This month marks the 2-year anniversary of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro, and I want to tell you about my experience for owning this camera for the past 2 years. And if you are looking to buy a new camera in 2023, I want to tell you why you may or why you may not want to buy this camera. The 6K Pro comes in at $2,500, which at the time and still to this day makes it one of the most bang for your buck quality, performance, reliability, feature sets to dollar ratio that I've ever seen in a camera. And of course they have some first party accessories, both of which I purchased, and I want to talk about if those have been worth it or not. Do you know what else is a great deal besides the Pocket 6K Pro? It is today's sponsor, Storyblocks. Video assets are more important than ever because retention times are shrinking, but people's desires for better visuals is increasing. Thankfully, Storyblocks has tens of thousands of assets, from sound effects to videos to presets and templates. If you're a Premiere Pro user, they have a plugin to where you can access Storyblocks directly into it. And even if you are just getting into the video editing world, they even have Maker, which is a very simplified video editing experience that anyone can use with Storyblocks built right in, so you can add your own footage in addition to anything from their library. If you're like me and you've been a commercial freelancer for years, you know how important stuff like this is, because most of the projects you're working on may not have the budgets to fly you out and get that drone shot of the Alaskan wilderness, but with Storyblocks you can still get that beautiful footage you need for your project and leave your clients in awe. To learn more, check out the link in the description below. Thanks Storyblocks for sponsoring the video. Now back to the Pocket 6K Pro. The first one is the Viewfinder. Now if you are filming out in broad daylight and it's very sunny, this comes in handy quite a bit. However, I do not shoot in that scenario too often, and even on the sunnier days, the 1500 nit screen on the back is very nice. So the Viewfinder is a nice thing to have, but it is definitely not a necessity. And to be honest, a lot of times it actually has been more of an annoyance than a benefit. For one, it actually raises the overall height of the camera, and this is already a pretty chunky, beefy camera that is hard to find a camera bag to fit in. So in certain bags, the Viewfinder has actually been a deal breaker for it being too tight of a fit. The other thing you'll notice is right now, I actually don't have any rubber cap on the back. And that's because it comes with a couple different caps, one of them which is very small, the default one, but I really like the larger eye cups. I think it's way more comfortable. I have almost lost this thing so many times. It's not an accessory I use on a daily basis. Right now, you are looking at my brand new non-Blackmagic camera that I'm not allowed to show you until next week. I will give you a hint. The camera itself is not brand new or unreleased or something, but there's some things about it that I'm not allowed to show or talk about, and so it doesn't make sense to spill the beans just yet. But feel free to comment down below some guesses as to what camera it is. I haven't been this excited about a new piece of camera gear in probably like a decade, so. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the big reveal next week. Now the battery grip. For those of you who have watched this channel for a long time, you've probably seen me go from no battery grip, no battery grip, and obviously you can see now I'm back to no battery grip. It allows you to have 3 batteries in the camera, 2 in the actual battery housing, and then 2 in the battery grip. Now the cons, obviously it adds a lot of height and bulk to the overall camera. The pros is it gives you around 2.5–3 hours of record time without having to think about your battery drain. It is kind of annoying, since the third battery is in the actual camera, that if you want to actually change all 3 batteries, you have to take off the battery thing, which is fine if it's by yourself, but if you're in a like tilted cage like this, which does come with the extension for the battery pack, you have to unscrew it and take it off. It takes a couple extra minutes. So most of the time when I have the battery pack on, I find myself ending up just swapping out 2 batteries in the battery compartment. How many times have I said battery? And while it did balance on the RS3 Pro gimbal, as I've shown in many videos, it didn't give you like full confidence or full range of motion. Like if you're really going like up and down and all around, there were points where it just became too heavy of a setup. But I love this with the tilted cage, how I can just slap this right here, and it perfectly balances on the RS3 Pro. Now let's talk about battery life, because that is one of the biggest cons to Blackmagic cameras, or pocket cameras specifically. Now, if I'm going out to film and I'm getting clips, meaning like I'm recording for a couple seconds, maybe a couple minutes at a time, I do not hate this battery solution whatsoever of just having a bunch of batteries in your bag or pocket, and then just every, 45, 50, 60 minutes, just pull it out, swap it. Not a big deal at all. Now, when it comes to buying extra batteries, this is a big lesson that I've learned. Now, in my opinion, in my experience, do yourself a favor, just buy the Blackmagic branded batteries. I've tried a couple third-party ones and I've had more success with some more than others. But not only have I ran into the issue with my third-party ones where I'll buy them for 20 or 30 bucks for 2 of them compared to the 60 per battery, and they'll do pretty well. Maybe instead of like 50 to 60 minutes, I'm getting like 40 to 50. And so you're like, oh, well, that's, a fair trade-off for that price savings. The problem is after like 4 to 6 months, those batteries are just trash, and now they're only lasting like 20 to 30. These batteries truly for the past couple of years have pretty much maintained all of their health. The other big difference is the Blackmagic branded version is a 3500 milliamp battery squeezed into this. My third party ones, I could not find a higher capacity than I think 2900, maybe even 2700. So I have 6 of these batteries because when I use the battery grip, I essentially wanted 2 rotations. In a perfect world, I think 3 rotations is perfect. 1 charging, 1 ready to go, 1 in camera, and usually you can keep that momentum going if you have like fast chargers. Or if I'm just using the camera like this, I just have 6 batteries to run through. Other physical parts of the camera, the plastic unibody, it's something that everyone can tell is one of the cost saving methods, because if you look at something like the FX3, which looks like it feels like it's built like a tank, this one not so much. But if you throw it on a camera cage, that's gonna add a good amount of protection. And honestly, like you can see, this thing is still basically in mint condition. I've taken it out in snow. I've been in light rain. Obviously, it's not advertised with any sort of waterproofing, so I'm not liable if you go and ruin your camera. The built-in NDs, I thought I never cared about. I used front lens variable NDs forever, and I was like, who needs variable NDs? Like, it's not a big deal, just have a thing. No, I was completely wrong. Internal NDs, like everyone says, has been a game changer, which is why if you can swing the extra 500 bucks, I wouldn't buy the G2. I would go with the 6K Pro. If you're like me and you're kind of doing all different types of shoots, you're traveling, doing family stuff, you're doing commercial stuff, you're doing YouTube stuff, internal NDs have absolutely made it to my list of must-haves for cameras to come. In terms of ports, they all have held up very nicely. Now with the tilt-a-half cage, I basically have taken off the top rubber guards, so that's very easy to plug in a microphone and headphone jack. And then the HDMI, I use the tilt-a-right angle one because HDMI ports, I think, are some of the easiest ports to break. Thankfully, this camera has full-size HDMI, but I like the right angle one because if I'm jamming a cable in and out of this thing and I break this, it's a lot easier to just replace this $11 right angle adapter than having to send in your camera and pay to get it fixed. Mini XLR, I really like having. And so rather than taking like the Sony or Canon approach where you have to have like this separate accessory top handle that gives you XLR inputs, I really like having mini XLR. It's really easy to have mini XLR to XLR adapters. I mean, that's what I've been using for years on the camera you're watching. This is a Rode NTG4 Plus going straight into my Pocket 6K with a mini XLR to XLR adapter. The tilting screen, it's something that I myself and many others were going to wonder how it's going to hold up years later. Movable parts is just something that is usually the first to break or have issues with. I can tell you I've had 0 issues whatsoever. Obviously, I wish that it swiveled out. That would change my life. How hard it is to film myself with this camera is definitely one of the deal breakers I've seen for so many people, and I get that. It's very annoying that when I travel to like a hotel, I have to make sure that I pack an extra monitor and HDMI cord and batteries for the monitor so that I can't see myself. Or I can't actually vlog because I've learned that this is about 1.5 feet away, so I just set my manual lens to about 1.5 feet and I do my thing, and I know I'm gonna be in focus, but there's risks involved to that obviously. And the screen quality, Oh, that's a good transition to talking about the menu in the user interface. I'm so spoiled by Blackmagic's user interface that when I use almost any other camera, like when I grab my Canon EOS R here, this menu system makes me want to throw up. It is terrible. Now, obviously, when you use something for years, you get used to it, you have the muscle memory. So anyone who shoots Sony or Canon or anything, you're gonna be like, no, it's so easy, because you know that on page 4 of whatever, it's blah, blah, blah. And I get it, those are hybrid cameras. Everything is just so simply laid out. All of your recording functionality are on a few pages with very big and clear graphics and icons. The user interface, just perfect. Now, of course, what's a camera without talking about the camera quality? Am I still happy with it, even though it is over 2 years old now? Yeah, you could shoot 6K BRAW on this thing. Now, granted, so many cameras that are out now that shoot H.265 or various other codecs, ProRes even, look incredible. I'm not doubting their capabilities at all whatsoever. But I am such a fan of shooting RAW because I have not thought about white balance or having to fine-tune my ISO in years. Here, since you have that BRAW workflow throughout, whether I'm at 6K 50, 6K 24, all the way down to 2.8K, which is where you can do the 120 slow motion. So when you match it in post-production, it's just so much better. So what are some things that I don't like about this camera, or that I would love to see them change with hopefully an upcoming version? The most obvious one is the same thing we've all been asking for years, which is a body style to something more box, like a Komodo or a Z-Cam or Confinity. It's just a chunky boy of a camera. The second biggest thing for me is change from a tilting screen to a swivel screen. I'd love to be able to see myself. I understand that this is a cinema camera, not really intended for people filming themselves, but let's be real, it's a budget cinema camera, so that means it's aimed really at content creators like myself who are doing a mix of everything: freelance work, commercial work, event work where I'm filming other people, but then also doing stuff like this where I need to film myself. I'd love to see more app connectivity functionality. On the iPad, they do have a first-party app. On the phone, I use something called Bluetooth Plus, which gives you all of your camera functionality via Bluetooth. It's really reliable, really great, and they even added the ability to pull focus if you have an AF lens. But I would love if they added a built-in wireless transmitter so you could actually preview the screen like you can on some, like my Canon camera. It would be nice to get autofocus, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely, again, now that I'm doing YouTube full time, and so while something like the DJI LiDAR experience does give you autofocus while using this camera, it's not a perfect solution and there's a lot more steps involved. I didn't even mention before that when you buy this camera, you get DaVinci Resolve Studio license for free, so that's, I mean, a $300 value in itself, but I've obviously made so many videos on Resolve, and you guys know I'm a huge fan of that, and I love to see all creators switching over to it. This seems like the year that like everyone's making the switch, but all in all, the quality that you get out of this camera, even 2 years later, I think it's still batting way above its price point. I do not think this is a camera that has fallen into the shadows of like, oh, you definitely shouldn't buy it. If there's a reason not to buy it, it's only because NAB is in a few short months, and so I would just wait to see if Blackmagic was doing something different. But besides that one fact, and unless any of my cons have absolutely turned you off to the camera, this is still a fantastic buy in 2023. But I'd love to hear what you guys' thoughts are. Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.